Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Donald Trump has made a historic comeback, defying assassination attempts, criminal convictions, and a change in political opponent. He secured a thumping victory over Kamala Harris in the U.S. elections on the 5th of November. Since then, he's not waited a breath in choking out key appointments in his upcoming cabinet. While Trump is presiding over the White House, the Republican Party has secured control over both chambers of U.S. Congress. This has made him one of the most powerful presidents in U.S. history. Therefore, Trump is relying on aides and allies who had strongly backed him during the 2024 presidential campaign. On that note, let's take a quick look now at Trump's picks in key posts so far. What is his cabinet so far shaping up to look like? Well, let's quickly tell you, of course, about who some of those picks are so far by Donald Trump, President-elect of the United States of America. So here you have, of course, the first announcement that had come in from Trump. Susan Waltz is going to be his White House Chief of Staff. She's the first woman to be appointed White House Chief of Staff in U.S. history. Susie Waltz has, of course, been part of Donald Trump's team very, very closely. She's worked on former President Ronald Reagan's campaign as well in 1980. She served as the co-chair of Trump's 2024 presidential campaign, obviously helping lead him to a victory. Also appointed as Secretary of Defense is Pete Hegseth. He is a military veteran and a popular conservative media personality. He's been appointed as the Secretary of Defense in the new Trump cabinet. He served in the U.S. Army National Guard in Iraq as well as Afghanistan in the past. And he's also worked as Executive Director of Vets for Freedom and Concerned Veterans for the United States of America. Well, another key appointment made by Donald Trump is the fact that Mike Waltz is going to be his National Security Advisor, NSA. He's a representative for Florida's 6th Congressional District. And of course, he's seen as pro-India. He's also served as a Green Beret and Special Forces officer in the U.S. Army. And he was co-chair of the India Caucus in the U.S. House of Representatives. He understands, of course, U.S.-India relations very, very closely. He also advocates for a robust U.S.-India partnership in defense to counter China. Meanwhile, Kristen Noem has been appointed as the Homeland Security Secretary. She served as the 33rd Governor of South Dakota since 2019. And Christie has served in the U.S. House of Representatives as well from 2011 to 2019. She's also a member of the South Dakota House of Representatives. She was that in 2007 to 2011. She's now, of course, going to be the Homeland Security Secretary. She's a fierce critic of the Biden administration's immigration policies. Also, another key appointment, Elon Musk has been appointed in charge of Department of Government Efficiency. He's an entrepreneur, is of course a business magnate. He's known for his innovative ventures. He's also someone who, of course, was a co-member of Team Trump in the campaign. He was born in Pretoria in South Africa. He moved to Canada in 1992. And he is, of course, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and also founder of X Corp. He aims to dismantle the government bureaucracy. That's, of course, his aim, which is why he's been made in charge of Department of Government Efficiency. He also aims to provide advice and guidance from outside of government to those inside. Also, to create entrepreneurial approach in the administration is something he's going to aim to do. Meanwhile, another key appointment is Vivek Ramaswamy. He's also, of course, in charge of Department of Government Efficiency. He was born in 1985 in Cincinnati, in Ohio, to Indian immigrant parents. And he graduated from Harvard University in 2007 with a degree in biology. He's a Harvard pass out. He also earned a law degree from Yale Law School in 2013. He's, of course, highly educated. And he's the founder of Roivant Sciences, a biopharmaceutical company, in 2014. That's a bit of a history of Ramaswamy. He also now aims to cut down on government spending and restructure federal agencies as well. He's also aiming to partner with the White House to drive large-scale structural reform as well. It's again going to be one of his targets. Meanwhile, another key appointment as border czar is going to be Tom Homan. He's former acting director of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And he began his career in law enforcement as a police officer in West Carthage, New York. He's also a strong proponent of deporting undocumented immigrants, something that's obviously resonated with Donald Trump. He, during Trump's first administration, operated a zero-tolerance immigration system as well. And meanwhile, another key appointee as director of CIA is John Ratcliffe. John Ratcliffe will be in charge of CIA. His political career began as the mayor of Heath in Texas. And he served as the U.S. representative for Texas's 4th district from 2015 to 2020. He was the director of national intelligence from 2020 to 21 as well. And White House counsel will be William McGinley. He's been appointed, he's a seasoned attorney and a politician from Pennsylvania, a state that Donald Trump won. He coordinated the confirmation processes for Supreme Court Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh in the past. He was previously also serving as White House Cabinet Secretary in Trump's first term in office. He also played a key role in shaping the Trump administration's regulatory and legislative agenda. Meanwhile, Stephen Miller has also been appointed. He is direct deputy chief of solicitor of the CIA. He previously served in Trump's first term as senior advisor for policy. And he helped Trump write his 2017 inaugural address as well. He was someone, of course, who was seen as a key man at that point in the new Trump presidency. He also played a significant role in shaping Trump's immigration policies as well. We've already spoken, of course, about John Ratcliffe earlier. And yeah, we've covered this already. Let's quickly switch to the next slide. We've covered John Ratcliffe already. Lee Zeldin has been appointed as Administrator, Environment Protection Agency. He's an American attorney, politician, and officer in the United States Army Reserve. That's what he's been in the past. And Lee had, of course, a political career which began in 2010 when he was elected to the New York State Senate. And he vowed to restore U.S. energy dominance and revitalize the auto industry to boost jobs. Meanwhile, Ellie Stefanik has been appointed as the ambassador to the United Nations of the U.S. She's the youngest woman elected to Congress in U.S. history in the past. She graduated from Harvard University with a degree in government in 2006. And she served as the U.S. House Republican Conference Chair since 2021. She also criticized the UN for its lack of sufficient backing for Israel's war against Hamas. Well, we've already covered John Ratcliffe again. We're back to him, it seems. Let's just quickly skip this. Mike Huckabee has been appointed as the U.S. ambassador to Israel. He's served. Could we please go back to the previous slide? Mike Huckabee, if we can. We can quickly. Yeah, there we have it. He served as the 44th governor of Arkansas from 1996 to 2007. That's Huckabee's, of course, previous experience. He was born in Hope, Arkansas, and graduated from the Ouachita Baptist University with a degree in theology. And as governor, Huckabee supported tax reforms, resulting in a $505 million for the state being raised. So those are, of course, some of the key appointments made by Donald Trump. Remember, of course, this is what his White House is looking like. A clear picture is beginning to emerge. Joining us to discuss this further is Ambassador Anil Triguniat, former diplomat. We also have Rabinder Sachdev, international affairs expert, live with us. Ambassador Triguniat, what do you make of these key appointments by Donald Trump?
Well, I think that these are the loyalists who have supported him, whom he has faith, and he has appointed them to the key positions, which is also in keeping with his current objectives. That makes me believe that this time he will not be that unpredictable as he was in the first term, and it could possibly be a more pragmatic approach as well as a more predictable approach and outcomes. He perhaps wants to leave a legacy, which is what is indicative from various statements he has made, the kind of things he wants to do with the deep state or with the governance architectures. Those are very important. And similarly, given his own predilection and the perceptions and assessments, especially with regard to China and Iran and his affection for Israel, we have seen the kind of people he has appointed, whether it's a national security advisor or the ambassador to Israel or the ambassador to the UN. Now, all these clearly indicates that he wants to carry forward the agenda, and he wants to show that by the time the United States completes its 250th anniversary of Declaration of Independence on July 4, 2026, that he is able to show a lot. Of course, he started off in the beginning, as you know, by ending the wars, that the wars would not have happened had he been the president, number one. And number two, within 24 hours, he'll end the Russia-Ukraine war. So we'll have to wait until January 20th when he actually takes over. Exactly how, but at the moment we are still waiting for who will be the Secretary of State. Because once that happens, then you will see the whole trio completed. If Mark Rubio or others are coming in, the kind of people that he makes as a Middle East envoy or others, then it will give us a lot of clarity on that. But I believe that this is going to be a conservative, a loyalist government, and hopefully there won't be so many changes that happened in the past tenure.
Sachdev as well. Rabinder Sachdev, key announcements being made by Donald Trump soon after he won a big historic election against Kamala Harris. What is the shape his White House is taking? What do you make of it?
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be with you. See, bottom line, what I make out of it is that this time round, he has a free hand in setting up his cabinet. In his first term when he came, the impression was that he's a novice, etc. So the traditional conservatives, traditional Republicans were kind of, were shadowing him. And several other appointments that he did, he ended up making on the recommendations of, traditionalists, conservatives, that's just the way things are. So therefore, this guy should be here. And what that led to was that his cabinet became musical chairs. In any case where Trump things can become musical chairs, but in that case, because there were several of these individuals who were, who had their own set ideologies, who were true conservatives, but of a different school than Trump. So that became a much of a hurdle for him last time. This time around, he's clear. I would say he's assembling, you can say, a band of brothers, right? What he's doing is that he's taking up these guys one by one, and each one of them is individually loyal and beholden to him. And especially given where he's in the party right now, anybody who he takes up would be kind of, in awe of him or beholden to him. He has that much more flexibility. And therefore, I think what he's assembling, it will be a cohesive government. Okay, it will work in tandem, it will be cohesive. Now, where they apply their energies to is another matter, whether they create destructionism or constructionism, we don't know. But it will probably move like a single well-oiled machinery. That is one. And then, then there are other things, of course, America first. America first, of course, means America first inside, and it also means America first outside in the world, right? So these key people that we are looking at, like the NSA, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State and all, they would also come with their own perspectives, right? But they have been vetted by the Trump team. They would have gone through their video interviews over the last 2-3 years, their social media posts once again, to make sure that that person is aligned with Trump. Ronald Reagan used to say, personnel is policy. So therefore, the appointees who are there, they are the policy which will be there. So that's what I think we can look forward to from this present cabinet which is being formed. As to what they would do and how they would, that's, I think, a separate question very much also.
Okay, let me in fact quickly take that back now to Ambassador Trigunath on the point, of course, about Ambassador Trigunath, what effect some of these appointments will have on India-US relations. Of course, Mike Waltz is being seen as a key pick there. He's headed the US-India caucus. He's, of course, he's being looked at as a pro-India person. But overall, how should India view these appointments?
Well, I think that I take it from another point of view. I mean, we need to see how Trump is disposed towards India. We always say there is a bipartisan support for India, for enriching ties with India, because India has become a strategic pivot. More so now for Trump's policies, because he understands that China is his biggest rival, his strategic rival. So obviously they need India in that context. So if the president wants something, that is why the system will also work on it. And of course, Mike Waltz is the national security advisor, which would be a very good thing for us, because in fact, the most of them look at India rather positively. And therefore, we need not worry about it. But only point of caution is that every country looks for its own national interest. And Trump has his own idiosyncrasies, and he will try to talk about immigration. He will talk about we have about 700,000 apparently quoted illegal immigrants. Now, what happens to them? That'll be a challenge for us. H-1B visas would be also another thing. We need to see how do we capitalize on our goodwill. Then we'll have to also look at some kind of, he calls India a tariff king. So it'll be seen in practice how it works out, whether we are able to clear our free trade agreement with the US and under him. That will also be a good thing. Then apparently he'll be coming to India in 2025 for the Quad Summit. And so there will be a lot of opportunities. And since Prime Minister Modi and President Trump do have an excellent interpersonal relationship, I think India is in a good place. That's how most of as far as the US administration, upcoming administration is concerned. Of course, in the foreign policy, there are no permanent enemies and no permanent friends. So it's only the interest. So I would say that we should tread with caution at all times and have as many friends as possible.
Absolutely. Rabinder Sachdev, again, that question to you, these appointments, what, picture do you believe is emerging for India relations with the US under Trump and his White House?
No, sure, definitely, yes. I mean, as of now, in a big picture kind of speaking, India is, I was saying the other day, in a sweet spot, generally, let's assume. But yes, we got to take it with a pinch of salt, sweet and salt, right? A pinch of salt there, which will come and happen. To my mind, what seems could be, should be, of course, there'll be these irritants on trade, tariff, immigration, etc. But there is opportunity right now in the immediate for America and India to work together on the geopolitical platform. And that opportunity right now is, not opportunity, let's say that need is right now peace in Ukraine. Now, Prime Minister Modi, he's actively said we will be contributing to peace. So he met Putin, went to Zelensky, met again Biden in Delaware for the Quad, then on the way back met Zelensky in New York again, came back to India, went to BRICS, met Putin. So that, to my mind, was round one of Prime Minister's one-point plan for Ukraine, stop the war. Now here, and India is getting some traction on that. Now here, Trump wants to, stop the war even before he assumes office or within 24 hours. So holding Trump to his word, in this case, let's say, I would expect that his teams are currently right now very much working, back channels or whatever to figure out what solution, quote unquote, they could come up with. And I think that's where these three appointees and India could begin a working relationship right away to solve that challenge. So that's my first thought on US-India relations in the immediate, in the larger geopolitical sense, that the two countries can work together to bring about some formula for negotiated whatever tentative armistice or whatever in Ukraine. So that would be one thing I would think. And then definitely, yes, the other elements are there. Tariffs the world will face, we will also face. The issue of illegal immigrants, yes, the world will face, we will also face. So we'll have to so that's a mixed bag out there. But on the geopolitical, point out there, generally, to my mind, from a short-term view, the Ukraine conflict could be one big joint effort by Russia and India, America and India, and that could raise further our, profile, and it could prevent Russia from going deeper and deeper into China's orbit, which we do not want. So that's in our, I think, extreme, national interest that the sooner this war halts, the better is it for us.
Okay, let me in fact take that across to you, Ambassador Trigunat, on the Elon Musk appointment as well. Now, how do you view the role he's been given in the Trump administration? It was widely speculated that he would be given a key role because of his steadfast support for Donald Trump's campaign. What do you make of his role?
Well, in a certain manner, I think he's the kingmaker. He's the one who has been backing President Trump all through, financially, through his social media, through all other means, and has been, I think, greatly instrumental. No wonder Trump calls him the great Elon Musk when he tried to introduce him for giving this post. He'll be working from outside. And what he has done is he has done it in his own companies. He's this man in the world, and his shares have also cropped up quite a bit since the time President Trump has taken over. Has been elected. So today, President Trump actually, in my view, and if my knowledge serves me right, is probably the most powerful U.S. president in the history. And at the moment, he had not only the electoral votes, but also the popular vote. He had Senate, Congress, and even judiciary with him. And at the same time, the people from across the spectrum have voted for him. That is, and all these states, which are swing states, have gone with him. So he's in a very unique position today. And I believe that that's the reason that he wants to create history and leave a legacy in the second term. And it looks very similar the way that he's trying to do things. And every day now, today also, again, he has come up with some statements about the illegal immigration, stopping all assistance to them, for example. So he is standing to his cause, frankly. As far as the Elon Musk is concerned, I think that he has said that he could save up to $2 trillion in flagrant government spending. So which means out of 6 billion, a trillion, he could save up to $2 trillion. That's a big deal. Then a lean and mean government can be seen there. Obviously, every bureaucracy is becoming fatter. So that's perhaps required in the US as well. And so I think that he is, I don't know, many people say that after 4 years, perhaps he could be the next face for the next election. One does not know about it, but anyway, we'll see as it goes. But he will be very important. Like when Ukraine President Zelensky called him to felicitate, we saw Elon Musk was part of the call. That's been said there. So he is sitting through almost everything. He's said to be with Trump since the day the elections have come out, almost a part of the whole selection process as well. So he's an important, very, very important.
Yes. Also, Vivek Ramaswamy, what do you make of his role, Robinder Sachdev?
Thank you very much, Uday. I think, more or less, you see the role for both Elon Musk and Ramaswamy is broadly can be looked at from a management point of view, business process re-engineering. This will be the world's largest ever business process re-engineering of an organization with an annual budget of $6 trillion. Out of which, yes, Musk and Ramaswamy, let's say, is promising to chop off, 2 trillion, which is hugely, which would, of course, mean government, which will reduce, if not reduce, which will help to reduce somewhere the US national debt, which is over, 35 trillion or so dollars. So one is that element of the debt and all. And the second is that's a core Republican conservative idea, minimal government, right? So it will, kind of develop on that philosophy. So what Ramaswamy will be doing and Musk will be doing, essentially, they will be going back. You can expect a reimagination of what or how departments are organized. The sense of a bureau or a bureaucracy is that around, middle or later ages, 1800s or so. In Germany, it came out, or in some other countries, that, okay, you have a bureau and therefore you have a bureaucracy. And the whole reason of creating a bureaus and bureaucracy was, let's go back, was to create efficiencies in governance, right? That's why, kings or Shah Suris or whosoever's of ours, and in various, in China also, the whole idea was how to organize more efficiently and the bureaus. So I think that this whole sense of what a bureau is or means will be, if they go the extreme, will be totally redefined. Newer departments, quote unquote, what I'm calling a department, they may not even call it a department, it may be named something else, could be formed, right? Designations, department names, functions of departments, etc., would be drastically changed. We could see, and they'll bring that, fast, work fast, do fast kind of Silicon Valley culture, okay, and efficiencies and all those approaches, use heavily AI, right? So a combination of all of those things to reduce the size of the bureaucracy, to make it more effective. Bureaucracy, tentative word.
Yes.
It could be some other thing tomorrow.
Okay. So it's an important role, and let's hope, of course, they do it well. Improving efficiency, of course, for government is always a good move. Let's quickly take a break at that point. My thanks to our guests for joining us. We are back on the other side with lots more.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.